Okay, everyone, we're live streaming. All cameras should be on, please. All YAC members should have cameras on. Okay, Portia, we're going to hand it over to you to begin the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Wanda and Ms. Jamie. I am calling this meeting to order. While I'm doing that, if you haven't already, please pull up your agenda and the minutes we send out, because that will help us to go through the meeting in that order. With that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Brooke, the secretary, for roll call.
All right. So Sasha Cigar and Simran Vadgama, they're both at a club meeting right now, so they're going to be late. They're the first on the roster, so I just wanted to go ahead. All right, Sunita Agarwala?
Here.
Okay. Daniel Cancro? It's not here, okay. Quentin Daniels? Okay. Abril Loaiza? Jacob Taylor?
Here.
James Taylor?
Present.
Okay. Jahara? She said she was going to be absent or late, I believe. Yeah. Skylar Peddle?
Here.
Okay. Giselle Hernandez? Cameron Allen?
Here.
Brooke Lackey, I'm here. Jayla Blair? Okay. Celeste Collado, she has an excused absence that's marked. Nasi Bangwani?
It's Nasi Bongwani, and I'm here.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Nasi Bongwani.
Okay, thank you. I have it different on the roster. I'll make sure to get that fixed.
Thanks, girl.
Daniel Reyes.
Here.
Tamara Smith.
Here.
Addison Truzy.
Present.
Okay, Melody Jackson.
Present.
Obed Salazar. Cadence Brady.
Here.
Xander Patton.
Here.
Portia Smith.
Present.
And Almarie Williams.
Here.
All right, thank you. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brooke, and welcome again, everyone. If you weren't here at the last meeting, again, welcome. And I'm so happy to have you on board. Right now, we're going to go to our next item on the agenda, and that is the approval of minutes. How we do this, we will go over the minutes. You should have that in your email, and you will go over to see as far as is your name spelled right, any corrections that we need to make. Please let Brooke know, our secretary, and we will try to get those done as soon as possible. And so right now I'm going to give a few minutes to go over the approval of minutes. And if you have any questions, you let me know. We will also vote on the approval of minutes via roll call.
And Madam Chair, YAC actually needs to vote to approve the requests for excused absences. The absences are not automatically excused. They're only requests, and it takes a vote of YAC to approve all of those excused absence requests. And so could we have a motion, please, to approve the excused absence requests that Brooke went over when she did roll call? Then we'll need a second, and then you can do roll call vote.
Okay, thank you so much for the reminder.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve the excused absences, the requested absences.
Is there a second?
Second that motion.
Okay. Do I need to go through and do the roll call thing? Okay. I'm sorry, who seconded that? Was that Cameron?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right. All right, I'm just gonna go through on my screen. Portia, say aye or nay.
Aye.
Nasi,
Aye.
Melody,
Aye.
Sunita,
Aye.
Daniel,
Aye.
Excuse me, Brooke. Excuse me, Brooke. When everyone is voting, would you please either those voting can state your school that you're representing, or either Brooke, when you say their names, you can say their name and the school for the record, okay?
okay, gotcha. Okay, so Xander from West Forsyth,
Aye.
Addison from Reynolds,
Aye.
Skylar from Glen,
Aye.
Cadence from West,
Aye.
Cameron from Middle College,
Aye.
okay. Jacob from Early College,
Aye.
Tamara from Reynolds,
Aye.
James from Early College,
Aye.
and Marie from Winston-Salem Prep.
Aye.
Oh, also Giselle joined us a little bit late. Giselle, you can say aye or nay. You're from Glen? Where'd you go? You're from Kennedy, I'm sorry. So you can just say aye or nay. We're passing like the unexcused absence.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The ayes have it.
Awesome. Thank you, Brooke. So on to the approval of minutes now. We will go through the same process. If you don't have the minutes up from our last meeting, please do so now so we can check as far as name corrections, anything that we need to correct, and then we'll go and do the seconds and also the roll call. So please have that up. And if you have any questions or anything that Brooke and the executive board needs to look at, please let us know.
Just a question about the minutes. Last meeting, I know there was a request to find a date for us to attend a city council meeting, and the Government Relations Committee has come up with a potential date. What could it be amendable to put that in there somewhere to vote on that date?
Yeah, of course. I'll write that down. Thank you, Sunita.
Hey, Brooke. Just wanted to let you know that my first name is misspelled on the minutes.
Okay, gotcha.
Also, my last name is misspelled on the minutes too.
Yeah, I noticed that. I went off the roster, so I need to change that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other requests or anyone who has any questions about the minutes? If so, please say so now. If not, we're gonna have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Giselle, go ahead.
Hey, I have a question. I'm kind of new to this. I'm not really sure what the minutes are or what you guys are saying.
You're fine. So if you go check your email, we have we sent out documents for today's agenda in your email, and also the minutes. The minutes are the records from previous meetings. So were you here on the September meeting?
No, this is my first meeting.
Okay, gotcha. Well, if you go to your email and open the minutes, you can just check to see if your name is spelled correctly, things like that. Also, Melody, I saw you unmuted yourself for a second. Did you have something to say?
Yes, I was present the last meeting, but you had me marked absent. I did leave early because I was at another place at the time and I had to leave early, but I let Miss Jamie know. But I was present at the beginning of the meeting. I'm not
Okay,
sure if
great.
you needed to change that.
Yeah, I'll for sure change that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys so much for like letting us know. As long as you let the advisors know that you have to leave early, correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Jamie or Miss Wanda, if they are present at the beginning or for the majority of the meeting, they are marked present. Another thing I would like to say is if you don't have your camera on, just for the records and because this is a public meeting, please have your camera on and mute as you need to if someone's talking and all that good jazz, okay? Anything else that we need to look over or anyone else still confused about minutes or anything?
I wanted to ask Sunita a quick question. You said that, remind me, did you guys say like the exact date that you guys were thinking of for the city council meeting, or were you just saying like you're going?
Well, the date that we came up with was November 16th, I believe. It's the third Monday of November, which is the 16th, yeah. But I just left it open because there are backup dates if that isn't like a
Right, I gotcha. Okay, I just want to make sure that like if you guys mentioned a date in the meeting, then I had it written down. So thank you.
Right.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? And just a reminder, just also check the chats as needed because there are going to be some times where our advisors will put something in there, such as turning on your camera, muting, just paying attention to the meeting in general. We do want to make sure that we hit everything on the agenda. So if there's anything else or if there isn't anything else, we'll go ahead and move forward with a motion.
Portia,
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to just make sure that for those who were not able to join YAC at a previous meeting, especially if this is your very, very first meeting, we will need to have those new YAC members to self-introduce. So you can,
Yes.
after, if you want to do that after the motion or whatever, you can do that. But I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that we need for you to self-introduce.
Yes, that is something that I was thinking about as well. Just because I want to get to know you guys, you all are welcome. It's almost like a family, but it is a professional atmosphere, and we do need to know your name, where you're from, as far as your school and your grade. And we will continue to help you along the way if this is your first meeting. All right. And Miss Wanda, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't put a motion on the floor, or does it have to be someone else other than myself?
Typically, we try to get other people to make the motion since you're kind of over everything.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
Okay. All right. So we have Tamara who seconded, and I'm not sure if it was James who set the motion out. Brooke, did you catch that? Who?
I didn't. I know Tamara seconded it, but who made the motion?
I believe it was James.
I think it was Jacob. Jacob, was that you? Yeah, it was Jacob.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So now I'm going to do roll call for the minutes. Say aye or nay to approve. Okay. So we're gonna go down the list. Brooke.
Aye.
Addison.
Aye.
I'm sorry. I'm going to actually say the school for the records. So Addison from Reynolds.
Aye.
Almarie, Winston-Salem Prep.
Aye.
Candace from West Forsyth.
Aye.
Cameron Allen, Middle College.
Aye.
Daniel Reyes, Reagan.
Aye.
Giselle Guerrero, Kennedy.
Aye.
And please correct me if I say your name wrong as well. Jacob Taylor.
Aye.
James Taylor.
Aye.
Melody Jackson, Walkertown.
Aye.
Skylar Peddle, Glenn.
Aye.
Nazi from Reagan. I know your name is wrong on here, so I don't want to say something that is wrong as well.
Aye, and it's Nasi.
Okay, thank you so much. Sunita Argawal, I'm sorry, Sunita, I am so terrible at pronouncing names. And
Aye.
okay. Tamara Smith Reynolds.
Aye.
Alexander Patton, West Forsyth.
Aye.
And I believe that is everyone. If I did not call on you, I had a little bit of jumping on the screens, but if I did not call on you, please let me know. Okay, it looks like the ayes have it. And so on to our next item on the agenda. So we are doing community presentations, and I'm so happy to introduce you all to Tiffany Turner from the Think Orange, Winston-Salem's campaign to combat hunger. I happily, as many of some of our previous members can definitely attest to how amazing the Think Orange campaign was. And we actually had the honor of creating PSAs and really getting involved with the community as far as roundtable events and so much more. And Tiffany will go into much more detail and tell you about how it came about and things that she will also introduce to you as far as our annual projects and if that's something you all would like to still incorporate this year. So without further ado, Tiffany, you may go ahead and present.
Thank you so much. My name has changed as I've just gotten married, so I'm now Tiffany Oliva. Thank you. So glad to be here with you all today. Obviously, we haven't been able to move forward with our previous plans to do a taste test just due to all of COVID and not being able to congregate. While meals at the different sites have continued this year, they look very different. And the majority of those are students just coming up to pick their meals and walking away and receiving some sort of educational material. So what I wanted to see with you all, obviously that's a part of your annual project that's kind of been up in the air, just waiting to see if things would change with the pandemic, and it has not. So wanted to give you all the opportunity to come up with ideas for what we can do in place of the taste test based on what you all are hearing, what you all are experiencing, what you know different families, your brothers and sisters, if you have them, what they're experiencing with regards to meal access, and how we can raise awareness about hunger. Obviously, this is still a really important issue. There has been a rise in the rates of unemployment, and so that obviously has an impact on how people can access food or how they can't access food. So it's important for us to still raise awareness about it, but want to give you all an opportunity to come up with ideas on your own first. And then based on that, could give some feedback and suggestions for I have some ideas as well, basically.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. It's always a pleasure to work with you and hear so much of how you just love working with the youth and everything. I do want to say, because I see like a lot of like questions and things in the chat, just want to go over that the annual project is something we do every year. Usually takes the first, second, and sometimes third meeting to finalize our ideas. Really want to try to get that done if we can for today, really try to boil down on what it is we want to do. As far as where we left off from last year, we were thinking taste testing, and some type of awareness surrounded by mental health and also the hunger aspect. And also tying that in with vaping. In the past, we did a lot of mental health awareness. We did hunger awareness. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be very broad like it was last year, but it does have to still be as far as like something in the hunger and mental health areas, if I'm not mistaken, because of our mini grants and the grants that we have standing from last year. So just wanted to put that out there. And if you guys have any questions or any ideas, continue to unmute or say something in the chat. And any questions for Tiffany, she's amazing. She'll definitely answer.
Before you all ask me questions and give comments, the other thing that I think that's important to bear in mind, in speaking with Ms. Wanda, it sounds like we should try to conclude whatever we come up with on a quick timeline. So by the end of this calendar year. So whatever we do in place has to be not as well easily implementable, and also on a quick timeline, and also thinking about scaling down a little bit as well. But obviously we still want to have an impact. So I'm open to questions or ideas.
I just want to let everybody know, if anyone is interested from last year, that I just put the link for a project proposal that we had finished before COVID happened it's the Google Doc. So if anybody wants to take a look at it for ideas, feel free.
Thank you so much, Sunita.
Yeah, thank you, Sunita. I know this is a bit basic because it is, I'm going to be honest. What if we just did a food drive? I mean, even though it's like a basic idea, it's easily implementable and it would have an impact if we were able to like advertise for it and everything.
I mean, I think food drive is a great idea. There has been a shortage of food since the pandemic began that different pantries and the food bank has experienced. And so that's something that's kind of tried and true and easily implementable.
Tiffany, could I just ask a question? Because I know I was at Catholic Charities a lot this summer, but where does Second Harvest Food Bank predominantly get their food? Because I know that Catholic Charities has like a TFAP shipment every month. So how is Second Harvest getting their food?
Yeah, they get it through a variety of sources, from food drives and individual donations. There are some businesses and groups like the City of Winston-Salem as well that will host food drives and donate a large amount of food to them. A big portion of the food that they get comes from what is not sold in grocery stores, like Food Lion, your Harris Teeters, your Lowe's, your Walmarts. And so the reason for this shortage of food, especially at the outset of the pandemic, was that people were buying food off the shelves like crazy, especially perishable, non-perishable items. And so there wasn't much left over to get donated to the food bank. And so at some point there were pantries that were encouraging folks to shop their own shelves, like go into your pantry if you overshopped and give back some of that food to pantries just because there was a need.
I don't know how everybody feels about this idea because of COVID. We need to be like conscious of it and everything. But what if we just went out and I guess it could be an optional thing. Like YAC members can go and volunteer. I know for certain like organizations, for like Samaritan Food Ministries, for example, you have to be 16. If you're 16, you have to have an adult with you, or, you know, things like that. But we could even do just small things like volunteering, and that would make a big impact.
You have a lot of ideas because you work in this area and they're great, or you've done research in this area. Volunteers, I will tell you all, is also a huge need, just because a lot of these pantries and organizations working in food spaces, their volunteer base tends to be the more elderly population. And obviously those are the folks that are more at risk for the pandemic. And so they have encouraged younger folks like you all to come out and volunteer. Of course, a lot of organizations have posted posted what they're doing to keep volunteers safe. And I think that that's something that you're right, Brooke, might have to be an optional thing for participation, just, you know, for different concerns about who you live with and who you're trying to keep safe. But I also think that's a great idea. I'm wondering if it might be helpful for me, outside of lack of volunteer resources and food resources, to share with you all some of the other things that I've noticed during the pandemic. Would that be helpful as far as needs? Okay, so yes, lack of food resources, lack of volunteer resources in the sense of people actually showing up and giving their time and talent, but also a lack of nutrition education, just in the sense that a lot of programming happens in person. So what could it look like to do nutrition education virtually, or what could it look like to, which would kind of be a play on the taste test. The other thing, I mean, actually those are probably the three biggest needs right now. Another thing was transportation. A lot of food pantries did not have mobile meals capabilities. Obviously, many of you are familiar with Hope of Winston-Salem, and so they're one of our core Think Orange partners that does have mobile meals capabilities. But many nonprofits really expect people to come to them to get their meals. We did see over the course of the pandemic, many student groups came together to start volunteering and delivering meals themselves. A couple of students I know across the country have created companies and nonprofits out of it. Not that we should do that, that takes a lot of time, but those are some of the needs. I also think just general hunger awareness has obviously fallen through the cracks as people have worked to meet this immediate need. So what could it look like? For example, I know we've been doing the Winston-Salem, the Drive, where you could come and watch movies. And what if we worked as YAC to show a hunger awareness movie and invite all of your peers to come out to it? And, you know, that's probably going to get the attention of people who are on a higher income spectrum, but people who are experiencing hunger, they know likely that they're experiencing it unless they're on the margins of that. And so you'd be raising awareness in a target population of people who don't realize it's right here in the community. But I see lots of ideas popping up in the chat.
And to talk about some of those ideas, a lot of people are suggesting about the farmers market. Sounds like a pretty great idea, just because the farmers market is now, you know, coming back open and everything. It is a great resource for low-income families, specifically if that's our target area, that they do accept food stamps, or what is known as EBT, and they try to match the dollar there, which is pretty cool as far as volunteer work. Not sure what that process looks like. And I guess, Tiffany, you can speak a little bit more into that. But I really do like the hunger awareness movie idea. Is there a way that we can do that on the fairgrounds and kind of have that idea work together as far as like the farmers market, and then like have a nice awareness with the movie and everything, just so the collaboration is among everyone? How would that look like, if so?
So there are a couple of things that you just asked about. The first is farmers markets. We have several opportunities there if that's something that you all want to do. We have the Fairgrounds Farmers Market, obviously, but we also have the Liberty Street Urban Farmers Market that I have been working with the Urban Food Policy Council on. And that's going to be running for 2 more market days in November. And so there's an opportunity there. Both of these markets do accept SNAP EBT. I actually cannot recall if the fairgrounds is matching those dollars, but we at the Liberty Street Market are matching up to $5 in spending. And so that's an opportunity. I'm not sure the person who mentioned that with grab and go meals, if the idea is to provide meal, what you're thinking of, that was James Taylor. But if you expand on that idea, we can certainly talk about it. And really quick before I forget, the second thing with the movie, I have not approached the fairgrounds to even find out if that would be a possibility, but I know that they have been amenable to working with other nonprofits over the course of the pandemic, and it's something that I think that they would easily get on board with. It's just a matter of asking if that's something you all would want to move forward with. Now, I think what we need to be careful of is we have a lot of great ideas, but we need to pick one or maybe two if it's something like food drive and volunteering, because we can't have so many components because we really only have 2 months and with holidays in between. James, did you want to expand on what you were thinking about in relation to the farmers market?
Yes, ma'am. What I was thinking was we could do like a grab and go style food market, and I think it's really implementable because my school actually does it. So it can have the fruits and vegetables, and we line up, and it can be held at the fairgrounds or even at the school. And you just line up and you can get your fruits you can pick. And I just think it'll be, really easy to follow through with.
Oh yeah, I absolutely think so. I think that Second Harvest Food Bank does do pop-up pantries and things like that already. And then Hope of Winston-Salem also just launched a market. And so there's lots of places or venues to be able to do that. It would just be a matter of YAC endorsing that day.
Also, where would we get the food from? Especially because it's like fresh food. So it'd be difficult to, where are you thinking of getting it from?
We'd have to ask some folks, probably different grocery stores, working with different farmers. Some might be amenable to donating some of their produce. With smaller scale farmers, I have more of a hesitancy of doing that. But if we were to do something like this, I probably could find some dollars to be able to pay them some for their produce as well.
Okay.
And I'm not, go ahead, bro.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, we've got some good juices going in the chat here. That's a good idea, but it's separate from like what's going on in the chat, like the farmer's market thing. Cause we're talking here, Sunita summarized it into like food drive, volunteer, and education. So what we could do, I'm sorry, this is totally going off on a rant, but like we could do the movie night where Skylar said the entrance fee is like 5 cans or something. And then you can watch the movie so you gain awareness of the issue, and then we can give out brochures or something. I think that would be a really good way to combine it all. And then if we still want to do volunteering, we can just find days to volunteer as a council and then just make it an optional thing throughout the last 2 months of the year.
And it'll take volunteers anyway to run collection services and stuff and be there when people are dropping off cans. But I just want to also ask if we can maybe get sponsors to try and match. I know we worked with Daggett Schuler a couple years back on our annual project with another food hunger awareness project. So maybe if we got some sponsors to, they get to raise awareness for their company, but also they match whatever we raise or however many cans we have.
I think that's a great idea.
Any suggestions for companies, guys?
I think those are all really great ideas. We still do have some grants that we're going to be applying to, but I really like the idea of getting corporations involved and stuff. As far as I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head that would do that, Daggett Schuler, I feel 100% would be willing to. He's just an amazing guy, as is. We've done work with him in the past, as you know. Trying to think of some ideas as far as that. Of course, I really like the conversations that are going around. Continue to put that out there just so we can get some ideas. I love how Brooke and Sunita and everyone else are trying to make it concise because, again, we only have but so much time, and I would like for us to kind of get a sense of what we're doing by the end of this meeting, just so we can finalize it so we can really make the impact we want to make.
I think I'll definitely like to second the idea of the farmers market idea, because I know Miss Tiffany mentioned she wants to educate. It's important to educate about nutrition. So when I think of it's good to have canned foods and things that are going to last a long time. But when I think kind of farmers market, I think like fresh food, like fresh vegetables, fresh fruits. And so I think it's not only important to educate about nutrition, but also put the nutrition there and make it accessible for them. You know, it kind of defeats the purpose to educate about nutrition when you're giving them things that are like, have a lot of preservatives and things of that nature. So I think it'll be important to not only educate about nutrition, but also make that a part of what we're actually going to be providing to the community.
And I also think that builds off of mental health too. And that can go in our umbrella.
Just to build off of what like Melody said and what Brooke was saying about maybe partnering with Lowe's Foods. I know Lowe's donates some of their produce and stuff and like fresh bread to Catholic charities when they run their transition out of poverty program. So I think Lowe's might be willing to help us with this as well.
Okay, everybody, there have been a lot of great ideas, and it seems like what I'm hearing, the most conversation around would be the grab and go, and then the donation, somehow doing a donation drive of some sort. And those two things really would be something that you could tackle without too much of a hassle, especially during the pandemic. So did anybody feel strongly about any of the other ideas? And this is, of course, taking the advisement of Ms. Tiffany, too, when she mentioned that we do want to make sure that it's something that is not too much for you, especially given the restrictions. And also, we do have the time limitations. Second point I wanted to make real quick, James, I know that you mentioned in chat about whether or not the SYC funding could be used towards any of this. We definitely need for you all to take a look. If you haven't looked lately, especially our officers, go back and look at your proposal for SYC. And you also have funding from youth, from the YGA. You want to see exactly what it is and how you can make a couple of these projects possibly fit under that umbrella, as you already mentioned. And Jamie, did you have any specifics that you wanted to share with them about either the YGA or SYC grants that you may recall?
At this moment, I don't recall any of them, but I know Portia just told me at the beginning that she has last year's SYC grant in her hand. So she can definitely talk about that one. And then YGA, I believe we just need to follow up with making sure that we let them know that we are finishing that project and get that money.
Right, and YGA was aware of that because I did speak with them maybe a couple of months ago, and everybody who received the YGA grant funding has been delayed, of course. And so they are really being great about working with YAC and other groups to make sure that everybody's still staying the course and trying to fulfill what they need to fulfill to get the money or to spend the money appropriately. Let's put it that way.
Of course, these are all great ideas. And as Ms. Jamie said, I do have the grant. I don't want to like skip around and try to like cut off any of the conversation, but I know we do need to speak about the grant so we can really get to the bottom of what we're gonna do, and so it's like more.
Portia, you also, so we have two things going on. So we have to finish last year's grant, which is what you have in your hand, and then we will discuss for the current year if we are applying, what we will do to apply for the current year. So you're not really skipping around yet because what's on the agenda is for the current year, and we still need to finish last year.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure like I didn't want to like cut anything off or like skip around. Yeah, for sure, because I just want to make sure that for the project it has listed YAC mental health pact. We need to make sure the educational part somehow touches on the mental health, and which it will, but we just have to be very specific with the grants. My experience doing grant work with YAC is the more specific you are, the more chances that you have at getting the grant, and it has to match what we're doing last year. So just speaking about last year's, and so I see some things going on in the chat as well.
and I don't want to confuse anyone who may be new to YAC, but last year, YAC agreed for the annual project to focus on mental health primarily, but mental health had different branches. There was teen gun violence, there was hunger, and there was a third prong too. Somebody remind me from last year.
Vaping.
Say it again, James.
It was hunger, vaping, and the last one that you said.
Vaping, there you go. That was the third prong. Thank you, James. And so when YAC had their state youth conference back in January, last year's YAC, I know that mental health was touched on then, and so was teen gun violence, because you guys did a teen trust talks with the Winston-Salem Police Department. Does anybody remember vaping was touched on?
It was.
Sessions.
Okay. My mom was there. She's doing her thing on vaping.
Okay. Awesome. So those were touched on then.
For sure, definitely. Also, my mom actually compiled all of the data from the surveys there, and it's being put into like a doctoral presentation. I think it might have been published somewhere. So I might be able to find, like, ask her for the publication link for that, and we could put it on like YAC's website or whatever.
Yeah. That sounds good, Sunita. That would be perfect. Thank you. And so that's what we're referring to when we're talking about last year. So it's just that one of those prongs touched on mental health, and hunger we're using as a subset of that, which is what James was referencing earlier. Now, for this year, if you all want to continue with a focus strictly on hunger, you can vote to do so. And so that's kind of where we are, because we do need to address both, but we don't want to confuse the two separate projects. So it sounds like, to me, I would argue that pretty much last year's project has been done thanks to the youth conference that our local YAC hosted. But just tying up loose ends, we can still tie it in if we need to. But the focus needs to be, do you all want to continue with this year focused on hunger? It sounds like that's what I'm hearing, but Portia, it may be appropriate just to try to get a gauge on that. And if so, you probably need to vote on that, and then we can continue on with making plans with Miss Tiffany for the grab and go and for the second harvest idea, or whatever else y'all decide to do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's perfect how to go about it. So I would like to set a motion, or I would like to have someone set a motion on the floor to vote on having our annual project on hunger awareness. If someone believes differently, then please say so now. But I feel as though it is very strong right now that people in the chat and through talking that that's what's going on. And I see some other people in the chat speaking of some things. Tamara says, I don't think that the rounding up idea is our best option. That takes time, as Miss Olivia said. Time that we don't really have, but brochures are a great source of information though. And she also has said that she could get her teacher to work on that if needed. So just want to go ahead and have someone put a motion out on the floor to approve, so we can approve of the meeting being focused on hunger awareness.
Motion to make our project focus on solely hunger awareness.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Okay, awesome. So now we're gonna do a roll call vote. I'm going to list your name, of course, and the school that you go to, so we can go ahead and have this fully approved. So let's see. Addison Truzy Reynolds.
Aye.
Marie Williams, Winston-Salem Prep.
Aye.
Brooke Lackey, Middle College.
Aye.
Cadence Brady, West Forsyth.
It's Cadence Brady.
Cadence, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
All right. And did you vote aye? I'm sorry.
Yeah, aye.
Okay, awesome. Cameron Allen, Middle College.
Aye.
Daniel Reyes, Reagan.
Aye.
Giselle Guerrero, Kennedy, I'm sorry. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. I'm sorry, I don't believe I heard your vote.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Jacob Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
James Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
Melody Jackson, Walkertown.
Aye.
Sasha Cigar, Atkins.
Aye.
Simran Vadgama, Atkins. Okay. Skylar Peddle, Glenn.
Aye.
Sunita Agrawala, Bishop McGinnis.
Aye.
Tamara Smith Reynolds.
Aye.
Xander Patton, West Forsyth.
Aye.
And please tell me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Nasi from Reagan? Nasi. I have such a hard time. I think it's my Southern in me. I do. So it looks like the ayes have it. Just to clarify, you all just voted on having the annual project on hunger awareness. The next step, of course, will need to be really finalizing what that looks like. I pretty much can get a sense now that we're talking about donations, grab and goes. Is that what we're doing? I'm seeing a lot of people saying agreed in the chat.
Portia, I think Xander made a very good point. Xander, did you want to go ahead and vocalize what you said in the chat about the grab and go?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, so I was mentioned, someone talked about it earlier, how the accessibility is a big thing because a lot of people who are struggling with that are struggling with transportation as well. So I think we need to make sure if we do the grab and go that it's in multiple locations, it's pop-ups, that we can go through it with as little hassle as possible. And so we can just pop it up in a different location so everybody has access to it, at least at a certain point in time.
That's a really good, just really amazing to put out there. I know a lot of people that have that problem as far as the accessibility, and we cannot, unfortunately, we don't have the means to provide transportation, but definitely something we're gonna have to take into consideration as far as the pop-ups. Any other suggestions based off of what Xander had put out on the floor? As far as the grabbing goes, I think that's really going to be the hardest thing about that.
Well, Portia, I would invite James to talk a little bit more about his vision for the grab and go, because the one who initially brought it up, he might have had something in particular in mind, but it seems like James's initial suggestion about this, along with Xander's modification and point, perhaps it could be workable. And of course, Tiffany, you know we want to hear from you.
Of course. And James, please, like, whatever, ideas that you have going on or anything that you had prior, trying to keep on an eye on the chat, but please definitely tell us more about the grab and goes.
Yeah. So now that I'm hearing Xander's points, I'm thinking that maybe the location could be in a centralized place or school where many of the people that may need it can have access to it. And when I was thinking of the farmer's market, I was thinking we could go to some farmer or some supplier and we could buy the produce with our SYC grant money. And then we could have them come and just line up, and it can just be a grab and go style event. And I don't really think it would be that complicated. I think we complicate it when we try to work with other organizations to do it. I just think that if we just use our own grant money to buy the produce and then host it, I think that would be the easiest thing to do. But I'm open to other ideas too.
I'm just confused why a grab and go would be easier than just simply partnering with like Second Harvest Food Bank. I know food banks all like need volunteers and they need food to run. So if we were to just donate the food and volunteer at their food banks, they're not going to turn down volunteers or donations. So.
Okay, I'm going to interject here. So transportation is a concern, yes, but I think in this case, we probably are better suited to partner with an agency already doing some, if we're not having people come to a centralized location, but we want to bring it out to them, partnering with Hope and either doing a special delivery day of fresh produce that potentially is purchased with the SYC grant dollars. If you all do that, I can match whatever you all purchase with our monies. And so that would double whatever you purchase. And then, you know, a couple of you, maybe 2 or 3 people can come out with me when Hope is doing those routes to assist. But basically, Hope of Winston-Salem would be the conduit for that, because that's kind of already what they're doing. Their focus is on fresh produce. The only thing that I would want to do, James, that's especially to your, not the only thing I want to do, this is a lot of your idea, but one thing that I think is important that you said is partnering with a local farmer, maybe a smaller scale farmer, an urban farmer, and maybe a farmer of color, and supporting them and the produce that they're selling, and doing that on that. That's already existing infrastructure that we have. It's not going to require that you all bring out your cars. It's not going to require that people come out to a location to pick up for one day that they're not familiar with. And so that might be a good option. Other option, like James said, is also to go to a school. We would still, if doing it at a school, have to partner with the child nutrition department. So that's something to keep in mind. We can't just show up and pop up. And so they're going to have to be okay with us doing that. I don't see why they wouldn't, but it might take more time to get the approval from the school system than from Hope of Winston-Salem.
Those are great points. And now that you said a local farmer, I actually live right down the street from a farmer, and he does really great work. He's always trying to get people in the community to help him out in his garden and really put the word out there about nutritional resources. So,
who is the farmer?
I actually don't know his full name, but I know he's a neighbor of mine, and I just know that he does a lot of great work, and a lot of kids in my community they go out and help him a lot. But I can send you all of that information as well.
That'd be great.
And I see some stuff in the chat, and I'm not sure if there are questions or anything you would suggest, Tiffany.
Was waiting. Oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was giving you all a chance to respond, because to me it sounds like, and obviously you all have to vote, but to wrap up loose ends, our easiest and most implementable approach is for me to approach Hope of Winston-Salem to determine if they'd be okay with us doing this, use their existing transportation infrastructure, purchasing produce from a farmer that we can identify that's maybe more localized urban, trying to prioritize a farmer of color or a couple of farmers of color. I will say the Liberty Street Market, all of our vendors are of color, and they are all small businesses, and so that would be another option of folks that we could approach, and kind of identifying a day that we could do this. And you all could, if you wanted to, put brochures in the bags that we're giving out.
I was going to say that I really liked your idea about working with the farmer of color and small business owners, because some of them have been really, really hard by COVID-19. So I think this could really help them by working with them. And also I seen something by Cadence saying working with the Title I school, and one school that I'm actually thinking about is Forest Park, because I was actually a product of Forest Park Elementary School, and I know a lot of people in the area, and I just believe that this would be an area that could be really benefited by an event like this. So I think Forest Park should be in the conversation.
I also know a lot of the educators at Forest Park. So it sounds like to me you all have to decide, do you want it to be on a route that Hope has, or do you want it to be at a centralized school location? Because that's 2 different partners that I would need to approach to ask them, approach with you all to ask them if they would be willing to allow us to do this.
How much more time or energy would it take to partner with the school just because we are the youth council?
I think from my perspective, it might be easier to do Hope, but again, they probably would jump on this as a school as well, because it doesn't, it's bringing a benefit to the community. And I think it might even attract more people to go to their meal site, which is a benefit for them as well.
That's a good point, because a couple years ago, what our annual project was, we made PSAs. We made like video PSAs saying, hey, free and reduced lunch is available to you and you should utilize it. So if we did focus, if we think that reaching out to the school and being able to do it in a time frame that'll meet like what we need it to be, then focusing on schools could be a really good idea.
Yeah, I actually agree that doing it at a school benefits the community more, because it's actually something that can be seen and it could actually attract more people, I think. The Hope routes, I mean, it's a great idea too, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like it will kind of be done, via car or via transportation, so you can't really see it. But if we have that community grab and go, it looks more of a community activity, like a community day. So I just think that's more beneficial to our communities.
Yeah, there's a bunch of schools that we could do that. We could do it at a rec center. We could do it all sorts of things. And we should definitely hand out information about nutrition and just like how to get it. So
I would say we probably need to pick one school because actually, money doesn't go very far when it comes to food. You're not going to be able to serve more than one location, at least not at the magnitude that you want. I mean, you could do a couple and then serve very few people, but I would probably argue that it'd be better to do one location with as much food as we can buy.
I do have a question. As far as the Hope routes and in comparison to the schools, would you suggest that the Hope route will have a larger impact just because it's already in place and it would be easier to have a target region and everything and have enough food? Do you think that will be more beneficial then? I mean, because if we're only doing one school, and I mean, I'm just thinking of our timeline, because we only have a little bit of time really to put out the word. It's just, that's my only concern as far as that goes.
It's a different type of impact, I would say. I mean, Hope is doing the mobile routes, but it's not as many people show up to each stop. It's like multiple stops with a little bit of less people, whereas doing it at a school would be one spot with lots of people. In the chat, I'm seeing a lot of people saying that they're liking the school. So I'm wondering if you all, Ms. Wanda, and the council would allow me to or identify a couple of people from the council that would be willing to work with me on writing a memo to the school system, a proposal of what we're trying to do, and contacting them to see if they would be on board with this. And then if it doesn't work out, it might be that they suggest another school that we can talk about, or that we can work with Hope. We have backup options, basically. What do you think?
Tiffany, what I would recommend, given our experience from before, when we were trying to do the Yak commercials and things of that nature on school property, just for the sake of expediency, we may want to stick with city-owned properties, because that way we don't have to go through having to request permission, wait on people to get back to us to say yes or no, and all of that. If we use recreation centers, in places like that, we can look in all of the wards across the city and perhaps use recreation centers in those wards and try to spread it out, so it's not just concentrated. But I know that the schools sound great, but the only problem with that is just given, and those of you who are veterans may remember when we did the Yak commercials, that piece kind of held us up. And so we just want to make sure that we get to people in need as quickly as possible. And if you have to go through the schools processes, it may be a problem. It may be a problem, it may hold you up. That's what I'm saying. So I would recommend that you use rec centers and any city-owned properties like that we wouldn't have to go through a lot to get or use.
I would second that because I do remember how long it took us and we really had to rush on our PSAs the year that a few of us had to do that. Just some of the thoughts that are coming to mind. As far as recreation centers, I know aside of town, the East Winston-Salem communities are really struggling due to COVID and are really in need. One of the centers I'm thinking particularly about is Rupert Bell, just because that community is in a lot of need, but I see a lot of other suggestions in the chat. Just want to put that out there.
I was going to say that my suggestion would be W.R. Anderson Center, which I call Runs for Rec, but I just think that area can touch the Latino community and some of the people. Just there's many people of color in that whole area, and it's also right up the street from schools like Forest Park and Hall Woodward and Philo Hill. So I believe that would be the most centralized place to have it at a city-owned place. So my vote would be that Runners Park Rec could be the place that we have it at.
If I could interject again, so some of our recreation centers are serving community meals in the evenings, and there are some that have been a remote learning center for students who needed internet access. I have a listing of those, and some of those are some that you're mentioning and some of them are not. But if we bring this to Recreation and Parks, I can see them asking us to do one of the sites that are on the list or choosing from each ward on the list because their staff is predominantly working in those sites. Would you agree, Ms. Wanda, with that thought that Recreation and Parks would probably urge us to use some of the facilities that they've had open throughout the pandemic rather than the ones that they haven't been?
I would agree with you on that, Tiffany. Definitely. I mean, and not wanting to speak for another department, but I would think just for practical reasons that might work a lot better. You're right.
So I'm going to send those in the chat if that's helpful.
So are we thinking of so Wanda mentioned doing this you said you think it's better to do more than one because you mentioned it like not being concentrated. So right, Brooke, and I think that's worth you all discussing. Would you all think that you'd have a stronger impact on having the grab and go at multiple sites, or do you not think that? I think that's something that you all can discuss, but I'm just visualizing that if you have it at multiple sites, it could have more impact and reach more people in different parts of the city. It could reach more people, but like Tiffany said, food doesn't go a long way, so we probably wouldn't be able to service that many people at each location.
Recreation centers, knowing what the typical turnout numbers are, you probably could get away with doing one in each ward. The school system, I just know that they have a huge turnout because, folks are used to going there for their meals. And so I think you could get away with doing all of them or one in all of them, if you wanted to.
And Ms. Tiffany, I think another point is that we shouldn't depend on grant funding solely to purchase the food. I think that it's going to be very important to have some of the food donated. Like you were speaking earlier about the businesses and corporations, I think that's going to be critical because you have this grant money, but it's just like Brooke said, and was it Skylar or someone mentioned, it's not going to go far. I agree. But if you have matches from businesses and organizations or donations from them, it's going to go a whole lot farther. What do you think, Tiffany?
I agree completely. And I think that we can easily identify, if, we did one site, organizations or businesses can, sponsor that site. But if, we did multiple different wards, we could have organizations choosing which one they sponsor as well, and helping to purchase that produce.
How many of these events do we think is reasonable to do in the timeline that we have?
That's a great question. Tiffany, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was not thinking about that as we continued to ideate. I forgot about timeline myself, because we have east, north, northeast, northwest, south, southeast, southwest, and west. So that's 8 wards. So if we did it in each ward, we would either have to do one day with some YAC representatives at each one. That might be a lot on a short timeline. What we could say is, we could identify, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe max 3, but even 1 might be good just for the timeline's sake. And I don't know, you all know your capacity as far as what you have going on with school and assignments, what you're comfortable with as far as the pandemic goes.
We do maybe 2 events, like one for Thanksgiving, one for Christmas. I know Christmas is cutting a little bit close to our deadline, which is why I'm asking, but then that way we can still have like more than one event, but without having to like spread everything really thin.
I was going to say that I think it can be done in the same day, actually. What if we do one in the, earlier in the morning, or do one in the afternoon? Like Portia said, it can be done at Rupert Bell, and then it could go to another rig like Women's Park or anywhere else. So I just think it could be like a community day type thing instead of spreading it out. And we could go as YAC to one event, then later on travel to the other event.
That's a good idea. It's just like, it'll take a lot of dedication on everybody's part. So what does everybody else think about that?
Well, I have enough resources also for it to do at 2 different locations and serve enough people.
Right. It's just, yeah.
I think another thing that Tiffany had mentioned was about the availability of the council. We don't want to host an event if we're not going to be able to meet accordingly. Those are just some of my thoughts. And then also I see in the chat that there's some speak about groups and everything. Miss Wanda, Miss Jamie, do you all have any specifics that you would suggest given the timeline? I know Sanita was asking Thanksgiving and Christmas, being that those are 2 big holidays, and then also respecting the fact that we do have to turn this in for mini grants as well, which is coming up close, and also speaking about completing the year of 1920 annual project. So just some things to think about. We're speaking about this year, but we also have to touch base on last year.
Well, I was thinking that perhaps if you all are still talking about the food drive, maybe you could have one idea tied to last year's annual project, and then the other idea be this year's annual project. So, for instance, the food drive could be tied to last year, maybe, because you could probably do that quicker.
Okay, so just basic. Okay, so I understand what you're saying now. At first, I was just a little thrown off because I want to make sure that we were doing this respecting a timeline, and also making sure that we covered all ends of of the annual projects.
Right. Jamie, did you have any thoughts on that?
I was just typing in the chat. So to finish up the 2 grants from last year, I do believe I'm with Wanda that you should probably think of something that's going to be a little bit easier to plan and execute. As far as money for the 2021 year, we will not even know about grants until probably the state you would know by December at earliest. And then YGA grant application doesn't even come out until January. So that usually you do not know about that until March, because they do interviews in February, and then March is usually when we find out. So the 2021 project would need to be probably a spring project. But whatever you could do to wrap up 2020, I think I'm with Wanda. Maybe a food drive would be easiest to plan and execute in the next month and a half at most you have.
So what if we did a fall event and then a spring event, each of them with the different ideas? So for the one that we have to complete by this timeline of December, whenever, we could tie it into mental health somehow. And then the second one, we can focus on whatever we think is more important.
I would agree with what Miss Jamie and Brooke is saying. As far as, because I know we need to execute this pretty soon, the bigger events, I would suggest to wait until spring. We will have more time to think about it, more time to plan accordingly, and to kind of get a gist as far as the pandemic and everything. What can we actually execute and be very effective? Not to say that fall won't be effective, but what's something that we can do and we know for certain we can do using the grant money that we have currently. And that's just something to think about. I see a lot of great suggestions and everything. I'm not sure about how you guys want to still go about it. I'm hearing food drive for the most part, given the time and everything. And Tiffany, if you have any like suggestions as far as like ways to scale it down or to make it more, I guess the word I'm trying to look for is effective during this time. I know a lot of people are concerned about the holidays as well.
About a food drive? A scaled down food drive? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, I know we're talking about the sites, but I'm almost wondering if that should be a spring thing, because it does take more of planning and everything, and doing a food drive now.
Yeah.
Just because it's kind of hard, because I don't want anyone to be like overwhelmed and we're like trying to balance school, but also trying to do a really great project, because these are really great ideas. But I just want to make sure everything is as effective as possible.
No, that makes sense. I think a food drive, like we said at the outset, is super feasible and easy to do quickly. There are a couple of options when it comes to food drive. You know, we have the option of doing physical food drive where you literally are collecting physical items, but a lot of organizations, even Second Harvest Food Bank has a virtual food drive option. And so that could be a matter of you all working with me, with the marketing communications department, to develop maybe some graphics that you all can share on your social media, drawing people to donate to the food drive. And we could even produce some images that show about hunger statistics, so you're raising awareness about hunger. And that's something that would be super easy to do. Once we put the materials together, we could get started immediately and run it through whatever date that you wanted to, virtually. If you do the physical option, we need to identify, well, where's the location that people are bringing it? Who's going to pick all those things up? So I think it might be best for us to just do virtual and create those graphics, and you all can use the power of social media, since I know you all are savvy with that, and using that to basically raising money, and that's what then Second Harvest or the organization can do to purchase the food items they need.
Tiffany, I think that's a wonderful idea. I think a virtual food drive would be awesome for all the reasons that you stated. And then also with Yak's concern about wanting to educate the community as well, they could be doing two things by doing the virtual food drive, two things simultaneously, and it could be expedient. You could do that right away. So Yak, I totally endorse and support what Ms. Tiffany has just shared with you. And yes, if you still do the grab and go and just focus on doing that in late winter / early spring, I think that would be good. We're talking, February, March, somewhere up in there. It would still be relevant, I'm sure, because sadly, the way the numbers are looking, I think that people will still be in need in late winter and early spring. And so I don't think that your idea would go without merit. I think that it would be needed still around that time. So if we have a general consensus, someone could even try to make a motion about doing the virtual food drive for the fall and fall/winter, and then doing the grab and go for late winter/early spring. But someone would need to make the motion and go through the second, all the parliamentary procedural stuff.
Wait, before we do anything, can you run down over what the virtual food drive would comprise of again? Because Wanda, you just said it would kill two birds with one stone. We could educate people, and what was the other thing?
So the virtual food drive, as Tiffany mentioned, Brooke, is just doing the donations virtually the way Second Harvest is done, she said. But when she mentioned the social media piece, that's what got my attention, because you all can have, like she said, statistics. You can have graphics with statistics on the graphics, and you could be sending that through social media. That's the educational component of it.
Okay.
Another point, could we use some of the grant money? I know Instagram has this ad thing, so that way we can do an ad for just the Winston-Salem community, and anybody who's scrolling will see it pop up.
Sunita, that's a great idea. Yes, I don't see why the grant money wouldn't be able to fit that, for that purpose. I think it would be good. That's a great idea. So if we have a consensus, you all, somebody needs to make a motion.
So I would like to make a motion to have the virtual food drive in the fall/winter and move the food market grab and go to late winter, early spring.
Second.
Awesome. So I'm going to do the roll call. Okay, so Addison Truzy Reynolds.
Aye.
Almarie Williams, Winston-Salem Prep.
Aye.
Brooke Lackey, Middle College.
Aye.
Candace Brady, West Forsyth. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, aye.
Awesome. Okay. Cameron Allen, Middle College.
Aye.
Daniel Reyes, Reagan.
Aye.
Jacob Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
James Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
I'm sorry, a lot of people are moving around. Melody Jackson, Walkertown.
Aye.
Sasha Cigar, Atkins.
Aye.
Simran Bedgama, Atkins.
Aye.
Skylar Peddle, Glenn.
Aye.
Sunita Argavella, Bishop McGinnis. I know I pronounced your name wrong.
Okay,
I know I did.
Aye.
Okay. Tamara Smith Reynolds.
Aye.
Xander Patton, West Forsyth.
Aye.
And I'm going back. I'm sorry, you guys are jumping. Nasi from Reagan.
Aye.
Awesome. All right, so it looks like the ayes have it. We actually got to cover the two general business items. As you can see, 1920 annual project completion, 2021 annual projects. We did review the past annual projects. We did touch base on the state grant application, but I do want to say that the deadline to apply to the conference is November 9th, 2020. This is the one that is going to be helping us for the 2020 2021 calendar year, and you will see that in your email. And I also have a hard copy, and I can actually send this out to you. It's just going over the stuff that we applied for last year as well. Miss Jamie, Miss Wanda, is there anything else that you would like me to touch base on as far as the grant application, the mini grant application?
Yes. So I sent two things to executive committee, but one to everybody. So the first thing is that the mini grant conference is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on November 21st. And registration for that is November 4th or 5th or something. I think it's next week.
So if I can interject real quick, I'm a bit confused. Okay, so the actual application is due November 9th. I'm sorry, misread that. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, so the application is due the 9th. So Portia, you might want to get a group of 2 or 3 of you together. I think that's what we've done in the past.
Yes.
To put that together, and then we'll need to look at it to figure out how to do virtual signatures between you and Wanda.
Okay, and so just reiterating what Ms. Jamie said, the deadline to register for the conference is this Wednesday, November 4th. And also I need a group of 2 to 3 other members so we can go ahead and write for the state grant application. Please go ahead and comment in the chat if you would like to. We don't, from my past experience, the community relations did really well as far as the writing. We have a lot of people jumping in. I'm not sure. Miss Jamie, we have like more than like what we were speaking about. Do you have a way? Do we just incorporate everyone that said yes in the chat, or should I just, I mean, I think it would be great to have the more the merrier, but not too crazy, you know. I see a lot of people that did have a lot of great ideas. The grant application is not long at all. It's pretty straightforward, and we will just need to go over the budget items, things that we are applying for, just an FYI, and I'll be happy to email you all about that. So
Yeah.
Ms. Jamie, Ms. Wanda, any like suggestions or anything as far as that goes?
Can you all use a Google Doc for the narrative part and for the budget? And that way you can work together, and then maybe a couple of you be responsible for finalizing it and putting it in the actual format on the form.
Okay. And go ahead.
I'm sorry, keep cutting it.
I was actually going to say, Brooke, can you take down the names of the people who did say yes and send that over to me so I can go ahead and do the email and go about that process? And I'm not sure, Brooke, if you had a question, because I know I just want to say that.
You're fine. I was just going to reiterate to the group, like, we just need a group of passionate people that are going to write about why we need this grant money to do our project, because that's the whole point of the application. Is we need people who are going to say, hello, this is why we need money from you guys. This is why we're doing it, and this is why we're passionate about it. So I think everybody who said they want to help will be able to help with that. So I'm writing down all the names now.
Of course, and just to mention, we also have other grant applications throughout the year. So if you don't, this time, if you don't like help us much, or if you're not sure and you want to work in the future, you will have an opportunity, absolutely. And thank you so much, Brooke, for that. So if there's any questions, feel free to unmute or put it in the chat so we can go about that. Our next thing on the agenda is the State Youth Council update. So this weekend on Saturday, Brooke and James, Jacob, and we all met. We had an executive committee virtual conference with the State Youth Council. It went really well. Actually, just have some points I want to give you all as we speak. So things to think about as far as volunteering and some of our projects and everything. We want to think of the who, the what, when, where, and how. Those are, to me, it stood out to me at that conference that we definitely need to think of that more than ever when we're doing virtual opportunities. Another thing that was discussed was having days of donating online, having those virtual opportunities to still volunteer. And of course, I know we're still trying to go about that as well. And things to do at home, just around the house, that's still helping out with your family, you know, or calling a senior home, sending out little letters, things you can do that it's just really nice and great ways to volunteer during this time. Of course, we want to, you know, still make everything fun and have games and everything, have time to talk and to really understand what it means to be a leader. And so I'll pass it over to Brooke, James, and Jacob if you guys want to add anything. But that's some of the main takeaways I want to share with you all.
Yeah, the conference went pretty well. We had a guest speaker. It was just like a Zoom meeting, like you guys would expect. And then we got into breakout rooms, and one of the breakout rooms discussed virtual projects, which I'm pretty sure Portia was in. And then the other one discussed how, like, other councils across the state, because there's like there's like a Fayetteville council and there's a Raleigh one. We're not alone. The Winston-Salem Youth Advisory Council is not the only one in the state, obviously, because there's a state youth conference. But we discussed how we were leading meetings, virtual meetings, because, you know, most of the other conferences were saying, yeah, we were struggling with getting people to interact in the meetings, you know, things like that. So if you guys have any suggestions on that, then we can totally include them, because we want your input. We don't want to just make all the decisions over everybody else and everybody else just feels compelled to go along with it, you know? So it was a good conference. It really emphasized why our councils need to be open and why we need to have ideas floating.
James and Jacob, you all want to share anything?
Oh, so the main thing that I got from the conference was community service. I got to join that group for a little bit, and I think I speak for Jacob and I when we were hearing a lot of the different ideas that the different councils are bringing, and they're trying to really adapt. That is the main thing that people are trying to do, adapt to the circumstances that we're going through. So I just think that hearing ideas being bounced around was very beneficial to the executive board. And I really wish that everyone else could have been there, because there were many ideas that we could take. And yeah, it was just a good experience. And I think Portia and Brooke pretty much covered it, but yeah, it was good.
Thank you guys so much. As Brooke said, we want you guys to be just as involved. You guys make up so much of the Youth Advisory Council. Whether you're on a committee, I know we have a few new people that we need to assign to a committee as well. And I'll try to touch base with you all after the meeting, send out a little briefing about that and kind of go one-on-one about that, because I do want to make sure you guys are involved with your committees and everything.
Portia, let me interrupt. We didn't give you an opportunity as a part of the exec committee to see if he had anything to add.
My apologies.
It's fine. I think they pretty much hit it on the nail. There were some good ideas being thrown around, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Y'all hit it on the nail. Thank you.
We want to give.
Of course.
That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jacob. I'm so sorry. Just want to make sure that everyone understands that this is a great opportunity for you all, and continue to have great collaboration. In the chat today, I was just so impressed. Miss Jamie said she was impressed. I mean, it just made my day having this collaboration with you guys, and of course the new members of the Youth Advisory Council. Once you join today, I'm gonna try to touch base with you guys if you have any questions or anything of the sort. that pretty much covers for next steps as well. And so I would like to go on to our last title on the agenda, and that is speaking about the newsletter. So that committee is the, do you guys remember what committees you were on, or Brooke, do you need to do a briefing on that? I think it'll be good to go over it, just so people understand, because newsletters are going to be due soon for the fall semester and then also the spring. For the new people who have joined today, the committees, we try to have everyone on a committee. So there is the Community Relations Committee, there is a Government Affairs Committee, and then there's also, I always get this mixed up, the Public Relations Committee, correct? Ms. Wanda, Ms. Jamie?
Yes, Portia, that's correct. And could you allow each of the committee chairs to very briefly tell what each committee is working on or what they're responsible for?
Yes, I definitely want to make sure. So if you remember that you are the chair of the committee, please do a briefing on what you are working on and what are the next steps for us, please.
Okay, so for government relations, we're basically the liaison between Youth Advisory Council and our city council. And so our task from the last meeting was to come up with a potential meeting date for YAC to go and attend a city council meeting. And we actually came up with November 16th as the best option, and we would like to maybe vote on that. City council has like 2 main meetings per month. So there's like a first Monday of the month, which is just zoning, which was kind of boring. And the third Monday is general business. So we figured it would be better to do a general business meeting instead of talking about zoning. So yeah, if we could like vote on if that's a good day, or if Wanda and Jamie have anything to say about that.
I just want to interject real quick. I do apologize because we were supposed to do introductions early on, but we got really caught up. And Candace, you did such an amazing job with like your ideas and everything. And I just want to give you a moment to introduce yourself before we go any further. I know Giselle left early, but I just definitely want to applaud you. And I want to, again, say welcome.
Hi, I'm Cadence. I'm a junior at West Forsyth, and this is my first year with YAC. So I'm a newbie, but yeah, I'm liking it so far.
Of course, and if you have any questions while we're going over everything, Sunita, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I just didn't want you to feel like I was not paying attention to you because you were doing awesome work, as well as Giselle, and I'll definitely make sure that she introduces herself. Sunita, please continue. Just wanted to make sure that she introduced herself as well.
And Sunita, just to answer your question, yes, YAC needs to vote, but let's do this vote after each committee chair has gone ahead and given their little brief descriptions, because we definitely need to vote before this meeting adjourns. That's important. So thanks for the reminder.
Also, I just have a question. It still says on this the website that city council meetings will be held at town hall, but COVID. So are these online meetings, or are we going to all at town hall?
These are virtual meetings. It's just that, and they're always held at City Hall. That's correct. But right now, City Council is meeting virtually, which is why all of the advisory boards and commissions like YAC are also meeting virtually.
Okay, so would we just like join a Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
You would just view it. You would view it, yes.
So yeah.
Okay, so next, I think next up we had another, Sunita, were you saying something else?
No, I was just reiterating that the date that we came up with.
Yes, we'll get to that as soon as the other committees have done brief intros. I don't know who'd want to present next. Public relations or community relations, one of you?
I can go ahead. Hi, I'm Tamara Smith from Reynolds. I'm a senior. I'm chair of community relations. So far, we have really talked about just like ideas about the annual project this year and things we want to include into the YAC year. focusing on community issues and things we would like to bring back here and talk about and address, and maybe get to just, work on that type of stuff. So that's pretty much what we've been doing currently. Yeah.
Thank you. And of course, your committee will be highly involved with assisting with the annual project, the one that's concluding and the new one. Even though everybody's a part of it, we'll be looking to your committee to help lead on some of that, okay?
Yes, we have already expressed some ideas in our chat, like in our group chat that we have for our relation, and we have some pretty good ideas for next year.
Thank you. Okay, and last but certainly not least, we have public relations.
So Celeste is the chair of public relations, but I was on public relations for 2 years. So do you mind if I take over for that? Okay, so hi, I'm the secretary, so I'm not the chair of public relations, but the Public Relations Committee is one of the 3 committees that was just covered. There's the government, community, and this one. And so the Public Relations Committee focuses on the newsletter. We focus on taking in everything that we've done for the fall and compiling it into a newsletter and then publishing the newsletter so that other people can see what Youth Advisory Council has been doing. So if you want to be a part of this committee, you probably want to be able to write articles and encourage other people to write articles about different events that we've been doing this year, and also know how to design a newsletter. So for the previous years, we've used Canva as a platform that we've been doing that on, and it's worked out pretty well. So I feel like, does everybody understand what the committees are? Because I feel like we just jumped right into it. So especially if you weren't here for the past meeting, do you guys get the gist of committees?
And Brooke, if they do not, I encourage them to follow up with the individual committee chairs to learn more, or any of the executive board, whether Portia, Brooke, James, or Jacob, if you'd like to learn more about the committees, just for the sake of time.
Okay. So yeah, those are the 3 committees.
Thank you, Brooke.
Awesome. So we are done with that. We have 2 things on our agenda. So right now, I do want to say that for the ones who weren't here the last meeting, and just a special reminder, we meet every 4th Tuesday of each month, now at 4 p.m. Is that correct, Ms. Jamie? Okay, awesome. And so please mark that on your calendars. We did push up the time so we can broadcast and everything. Again, have your cameras on, use the chat function, unmute yourselves when you have an idea, and so on and so forth. But again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us, whether that's executive board or any committee members. And also upcoming events. Ms. Jamie, Ms. Wanda, any upcoming events that we need to be aware of?
2 things, Portia, before we do that. Number 1, you are not going to meet, I don't think, on the 4th Tuesday in November. We have a special meeting date because of Thanksgiving. And so, Jamie, do we have that meeting date? Is that something that needs to be voted on? Or did they already vote?
I believe they've always met the week of Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe y'all are good then. Okay.
But I mean, if they would to me, I know that because it was on Tuesday, they normally have been able to.
Okay.
Date.
Is everybody okay with still meeting the Tuesday prior? I think it's going to mean you're meeting the Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving. Is that a problem for anybody? Do we need to move that date? Otherwise, we'll keep it at that same date then.
And that's the 24th.
Okay, Tuesday, November 24th is your November meeting. Okay.
And I know we also have to vote on the city council meeting via Sunita, you did say that we had you had a date in mind, and we do need to vote on that.
Yes, but before we move on with that, Portia, I'm just seeing comments in chat, and a couple of GAC members are saying they think you all did vote to move the November date up. So if that is the case, then you all will, Monday, November 16th for city council meeting. You all would need to definitely select another date in November for your GAC meeting rather than, I mean, perhaps you could even just move it up a week and do the 17th.
Okay, so of course, like you said, the 17th of November, or we can move it to December, but
that would be a whole other month. The 17th, is probably the best bet.
Yeah, especially because we have a lot to do from now until then. So is there anyone who has any problems with the 17th? Trying to stay on the chat as well.
Would anybody be willing to make a motion for the 17th?
Make a motion to move the original scheduled meeting for November 24th to November 17th.
Thank you, James. Somebody second?
Second.
I second.
Thank you, Xander.
I am looking at the calendar and I'm not 100% sure that's available.
Okay, so do you know if the 10th is available? I'm just going.
The 10th wouldn't work for us, Portia, because we have a newcomer symposium that day.
Right.
My recommendation would be that if the 17th does not work, that you just stick with the 24th.
Okay. And do we have anyone with any problems with the 24th in the chat? I don't believe I've seen anything.
Okay, I just received word from marketing that the 17th is booked, so you all would just stick with the 24th, okay?
Okay.
You can make it, and if you can't make it, just remember to request an excused absence, okay?
Okay, thank you for your clarification. I think someone was trying to say something.
I'm just wondering if you all would be available to meet at 3, or is that too early? Because there is a 4:30 meeting already on the marketing schedule.
We're still in school at 3.
3's a little bit early.
Okay.
You said the meeting is at what time, Jamie?
There is a MWBE virtual meeting at 4:30 to 6.
Okay, if you all meet on the 24th, how early could you meet? Could you do 3:45?
Yes.
I would be late if we did 3:45, just because.
So let's set it for 3:45, and if you're a few minutes late, it's okay. But understanding it's going to be a brief meeting, okay?
Okay, and
yeah.
And with that being
said, I don't think I can't. It's fine. Never mind.
No, Cindy, go ahead if you have a concern.
I don't know how many other people have an issue with like transportation from school to my house, because I can't get home before 4. So if it's a really brief meeting, I don't want to miss the whole thing because I'm at school.
Okay, and I did receive a message from marketing that perhaps you all could do a 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I just suggested doing, because usually, like last year when we met in person, we would do 5:30 meetings. So is 6
How would 6 o'clock work?
For you guys? Does that cut into y'all doing homework, things like that? You can like nod your head, shake your head, say something in the chat.
Let's do a quick visual poll between 3:45 and 6 o'clock on the 24th. If you can do 3:45 on the 24th, give me a thumbs up. Okay, that's just about everybody. If 6 o'clock works better on the 24th, give me a thumbs up. Okay, it looks like the preference is for 3:45 on the 24th. So it's going to change the meeting time then. You'll still do the 24th, but instead of 4 o'clock, you're going to do 3:45. You're just going to meet about 15 minutes earlier.
And if anyone misses, and I'm not sure what the agenda looks like for the next meeting, there will be an email going out. I will make sure to send an email just in case, because I know it's early on to tell how schedules are right now, but if anything's missed, I'll make sure to send out an email. Any other concerns, Ms. Wanda, Ms. Jamie, or any announcements about upcoming events besides the city council meeting?
We need to have 2 votes, please. We need to vote on changing the time to 3:45 on the 24th, and then we need to vote for Sunita's item for the city council meeting on November was it the 16th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so do I have a motion on the floor for the next meeting to change it to 3:45?
Motion to change the next meeting to 3:45 instead of 4.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, so I'm going to do a roll call real quick. Addison Truzy, Reynolds.
Aye.
Almarie Williams, Winston-Salem Prep.
Aye.
Brooke Lackey, Middle College.
Aye.
Cameron Allen, Middle College.
Aye.
Cadence Brady, West Forsyth.
Aye.
Daniel Reyes, Reagan.
Aye.
Jacob Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
James Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
Melody Jackson, Walkertown.
Aye.
Nazi Reagan.
Aye.
Sasha Cigar, Atkins.
Aye.
Simran Bagama, Atkins.
Aye.
Skylar Peddle, Glenn.
Aye.
Sunita Argavada, Bishop McGinnis.
Argawala, but
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I have like bifocals. It messes me up. Let's see. I'm sorry. You guys are jumping again. Tamara Smith Reynolds.
Aye.
Xander Patton, West Forsyth.
Aye.
And I think
Portia, did you vote?
aye. Is there anyone I didn't call on? I'm sorry. Zoom is jumping you guys when I call. And let me know if anyone didn't vote, but I believe that is everyone. Okay, it looks like the ayes have it. All right, so our next item would be to vote on the city council meeting. Do I have a motion on the floor?
A motion to vote for the city council meeting.
Okay, and do I have a second?
A second.
Whoa. We need to have the motion to state what you're voting on about the city council meeting. It needs to state, make a motion to attend as YAC, the city council meeting scheduled for November the 16th, blah, blah. That could be a little more formal, okay?
Thank you.
To vote on attending the city council meeting on November 16th.
Thank you, Sunita. Do we have a second?
I second.
Awesome. Okay, so back to roll call. Addison Truzy, Reynolds.
Aye.
Almarie Williams, Winston-Salem Prep.
Aye.
Brooke Lackey, Middle College.
Aye.
Cadence Brady, West Forsyth.
Aye.
Cameron Allen, Middle College.
Aye.
Daniel Reyes, Reagan.
Aye.
Jacob Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
James Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
Melody Jackson, Walkertown.
Aye.
Nazi from Reagan.
It's Nazi. And
Nazi, I'm sorry. Nazi. I keep on switching around. My apologies.
It's Nazi. It's an S.
Okay, thank you. Sasha Cigar, Atkins,
Aye.
Simran Vagama, Atkins,
Aye.
Skylar Peddle, Glenn,
Aye.
Tamara Smith Reynolds.
Aye.
Sorry, you guys keep on jumping, so I'm Sunita Argawala, Bishop McGinnis,
Aye.
and Xander Patton, West Forsyth.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. It looks like the ayes have it. And we will be meeting on November 16th for the city council meeting. Okay? Any other announcements, Ms. Jamie, Ms. Wanda, that we need to go over before we adjourn the meeting?
I will send a private email to the public relations group to start thinking about their articles. We do like that to be finalized by the end of November. So I'll send that out this week.
Okay, thank you. Any other announcements, Ms. Wanda?
None that I can think of, but everyone just make sure that you're thinking hard about the surface sorting project, your annual project for this year. Make sure you stay in touch and communicate. Ms. Tiffany is gone. We didn't get a chance to thank her for joining us, but we do appreciate her time.
Yes, I do appreciate that. She did. And also, Ms. Jamie just put in the chat to register for the conference. If you didn't get the link, please let us know, and we'll go through that process with you one-on-one, okay?
And make sure you keep your committees. For those of you who aren't on committees, make sure you make your selection. I think Brooke asked people to contact her with their selection, right, Brooke? Okay, okay.
I just want to say that I have emailed the people who said they wanted to join. So just check your email really quickly and just email me back.
Thank you so much, Samir. That's awesome. So I'm glad we're already on that. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
And do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All right. Just a quick roll call and we will adjourn. Addison Truzzi Reynolds.
Addison, I think you were on mute. We didn't hear your vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Aye.
You're fine. Okay. Almarie Williams, Winston-Salem Prep.
Aye.
Brooke Lackey, Middle College.
Aye.
Cadence Brady, West Forsyth.
Aye.
Cameron Allen, Middle College.
Aye.
Daniel Reyes, Reagan.
Aye.
Jacob Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
James Taylor, Early College.
Aye.
Melody Jackson, Walkertown.
Aye.
Nazi from Reagan.
Aye.
Tasha Cigar, Atkins.
Aye.
Simran Vagama, Atkins.
Aye.
Skylar Peddle, Glenn.
Aye.
Sunita Argawala, Bishop McGinnis.
Aye.
Tamara Smith, Reynolds.
Aye.
Xander Patton, West Forsyth.
Aye.
And I as well. Thank you all for meeting, for being patient with me today as we went over this agenda. You all did a phenomenal job. Please keep a lookout for the emails. Remember, our next meeting, we will be meeting on the 24th at 3:45 p.m. If you cannot meet, please send a request for an excused absence. If there are no...
Portia, I gotta jump in. You did a phenomenal job. I wanted to thank you because I know if I don't say it, you might adjourn before I do. But Portia, you did well running the meeting. Brooke, you have done a phenomenal job with the minutes. I could tell you were jotting down and wearing 2 and 3 hats. everybody on this meeting call, you all are awesome. Again, I must echo what Jamie has already said. You all are so impressive. It is just not even funny how impressive y'all are. And you get your business done and you do it very well and very professionally. And you make us all proud and you make the city of Winston-Salem look good. So keep it up. Keep it up, Yak.
Thank you so much. And guys, please unmute and thank our advisors. They are awesome and just do a phenomenal job. So before you go, please say thank you. And of course, keep a lookout for emails, respond to emails and everything.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, y'all. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you, marketing.